Hey, welcome back to Real Housewife Recaps. Today I'm covering Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 4. I'm combining episodes 6 and 7. We are rewatching this to get ready for Season 5, which comes out soon. I can't wait, and I'll be recapping that as well. So let's get started. So we pick up with episode 6 here, and if you remember, Candiace was being a total asshole, and all the girls were calling her out for being an asshole. She's being it to Ashley and saying that she didn't believe that Ashley was truly trying to get pregnant. Candiace accuses Ashley of being a surface friend, and Candiace is telling Ashley to drink more. Gizelle stands up for her and says several of them were drunk when they got pregnant. Gizelle kicks everybody out of the room for a long day tomorrow. It's the third morning of the trip. And today the girls are going to do different things. We have them going separate ways here. Karen, Monique, and Robyn are going to go feed some alligators. Ashley and Katie are going to do tarot cards. And Gizelle and Candiace are going to meet the mayor of New Orleans. Monique and Robyn are all talking about Gizelle bringing up Candiace not believing that Ashley is trying to get pregnant. Monique to camera says, I don't agree with Candiace. She has some growing up to do. And to that, I say, I agree, Monique, and thank you for being the voice of reason. We have Gizelle and Monique in the car here, and they're both talking about how they owe, or how Candiace owes Ashley an apology. We got Ashley and Katie at the voodoo practitioner, which was something I hadn't heard before, getting a tarot reading. And they're asking about fertility and journeys and stuff like that. We had the other ladies going to feed the alligators. This looks truly terrifying to me. It's called Cajun Encounters, and it looks like you feed some meat to the alligators, and that's my worst nightmare. We have a really cool part here where Gizelle is meeting up with her dad, and of course she's with Candiace, and they go to this famous New Orleans restaurant, and they get to meet the owner here, she just seems so sweet, and the mayor of New Orleans, and it's just such a special event and occasion. So then we do some lingerie shopping, but it's mostly just Ashley swinging some tassels around, so I'm skipping that part. We go on to that evening. They're going out. They're all dressed in white. They're going to celebrate Gizelle's dad Curtis's 80th birthday. Karen and Katie are late, so they're going to have to Uber to meet the others. On the bus, Ashley does apologize to Monique for not being sensitive to Monique's miscarriage last year. Then we see a really sweet scene with Gizelle and her dad. They run in a trolley. They get off, and she surprises him with a second line marching band. It's a beautiful moment. Everyone's dancing and having fun and marching down the street. It's such a celebration, and that's so cool. So they sit down and have a meal. Candiace is apologizing to Ashley. She says she wants to know her journey and what she's going through. Ashley says that's going to take some time. She said, it takes me time. I love really hard and fast. And Robyn says that it took her and Ashley years. Ashley to camera says Candiace needs to grow up. Karen asks Candiace what happened last night. Then we get to meet Steve, who is Gizelle's ex-boyfriend. All the ladies are asking Steve about the past. It turns out they dated a year or so, and it was rumors that split them up. Karen's kind of acting weird here, and to camera she says, run, Steve, run. Karen to Monique talking about Ashley versus Candiace. I know she's the grand dame, but she's stirring things up here, I think. Once again, Candiace is being the worst. I don't know what her problem is. She's bringing up Ashley and not believing that she's trying to get pregnant. Ashley says, don't come for my uterus, which is like my favorite line of the episode. The ladies all say that Candiace is being too aggressive. Monique, again, the voice of reason here, says, don't judge so harshly. Gizelle says, we're done. My dad's turning 80. And to camera, Gizelle is shady and says, you only turn 80 once, but in Karen's situation, it's a whole other story. Then we have Candiace here, has to be the center of attention. She's singing happy birthday while Gizelle brings out the cake. There's a funny scene here where Ashley is singing very loudly too. So Karen's kind of like sighing and covering her face up and stuff. There's a funny moment where Katie is kind of like jiggling her throat to mimic Candiace's singing, which was funny. So that ends, and they all go to bed. They go back to their rooms, except for Gizelle. We see 3 hours later and seeing her come home. So we'll talk about that in a second. It's the final day for the ladies in New Orleans. All the ladies meet up so they can go on a boat together. We see a producer cam here with Katie, who is completely passed out. Her room's a wreck. It's just pretty funny to see. So she's going to have to meet up with them later. So they get on the boat, and Candiace has I didn't know what they were showing us here. I thought it was a smudge, but apparently it was a bug. Robyn tries to help her out, and Candiace completely overreacts and freaks out, as she does with everything. Robyn says to camera, half of Candiace's antics are annoying, but half are funny. You're going to make a fool of yourself, and I'm going to laugh at it. Gizelle admits that she saw Steve and that they had some drinks and that they kissed. The ladies ask if that's why she cut this party short. Gizelle says no, she was looking out for Monique, who is pregnant, and then points to Karen and says this one's grieving. Karen says drop the word grief right now. Karen feels like she was set up to come on the trip. Karen asks about Sherman, and Gizelle gets pissed. So I'm not the biggest Karen fan. I'm not, but I do think that was kind of shitty of Gizelle. She probably shouldn't point at her and say this one is grieving. I actually understood Karen here for a second, why she might have felt set up to come on the trip. But Karen is very smart and she knows what she's doing. So asking about Sherman is going to get a reaction out of Gizelle. So after this, they go to Cafe du Monde, and Monique is exhausted, so she goes back to the hotel to rest. It means a lot to Gizelle, this place. They show her coming in her childhood. They show a funny scene of Katie last night checking Steve's tag to see what kind of shirts he's wearing. Gizelle doesn't want to answer any Sherman questions and says she has boundaries up when she's talking to Karen. Karen says to camera she heard about Sherman in the sack with someone else, and Gizelle was defensive. She was afraid that Karen was going to bring it up. Gizelle wants to just enjoy her beignets, and believe me, I want to tuck into those things too. They look so good. Karen says, Gizelle, stay in your effing place. Robyn says Karen should respect Giselle's boundaries, and Gizelle says she feels like she's the only one working on the friendship. And that's kind of how they end the episode. So I thought it was a good episode. I'm going to cut right into episode 7 because I really want to cover this before the new season comes out. So I'm going to start combining these episodes. So in episode 7, we start out here at Monique's rainbow party. She explained in the last episode, as soon as she got home, she was going to have this rainbow party. So we have a montage of everybody kind of getting ready. Gizelle calls Robyn and explains that she can't come because her daughter Angel is sick and she has a fever, so she can't make it. Robyn is saying that she can't come either because her son is playing in a game. Monique is gracious about it and says she understands. She always puts her kids first as well. Monique, who I love even more with every episode, is explaining this rainbow party. Rainbow baby is the one that you have after a miscarriage. She wants to give her friends hope who have experienced things like this. Ashley and Monique used to be tumultuous, but they seem to have bonded over this experience and over fertility issues. So then we get to meet Shirley, or see Shirley again. Holy cow. So if you remember, Shirley called Monique a heifer, and she hasn't seen or spoken to them since she did that. She meets Ashley and Michael, and while I'll never blame anybody for being weird with Michael, she got weird with them. She said she doesn't want to shake anybody's hands, And she was talking about how Michael smelled. Ooh, what is with the mothers on this show? Holy cow. So we see the ladies mingling with each other, and then Monique gives a beautiful speech. She explains that they're there to celebrate life. After Monique's speech, the mother-in-law gets up. So Shirley says to Monique, everything that happened in the past is in the past. She wants to forget it, and she owes Monique an apology, and that she loves her, and they hug, and it was a really nice and touching moment. Michael gets emotional over the loss of the baby that, he and Ashley had. The one thing I'll say, and this is a delicate topic, it's just an awful thing for anybody to experience loss, but did you notice that Michael seems to make it all about himself? I just noticed that a lot. As somebody who has gone through fertility issues, it's awful. And you need a supportive partner, and Michael is not that. He's not that for Ashley. So I really felt for Ashley here, because it's just obvious that I'm sure he is upset about losing the baby, but he's not supportive of Ashley. So then Monique opens it up to everybody and says if anybody wants to share, she invites them to. And Ashley talks about her elation for Monique's baby and feels sadness for her loss. Candiace, meanwhile, is making eyes, rolling eyes, like totally not into what Ashley is saying. So then we go over to Gizelle, who is hugging her mom, who came in for a visit. They talk about New Orleans, and Gizelle explains that her parents were married for 35 years when they got divorced. Gizelle tells her mom about a house that she's interested in, and that it's a investment property that she would have to work on. Meanwhile, we see Robyn. She meets up with her real estate friend, and her mom's there too. They're about a month away from being done. They were expecting it to be done in about 4 months. It's gone on for about 10 months. Robyn says it's important for her and Juan for this to work, and that she's excited to see what happens with her relationship when she starts proving herself, and that she's able to do things like this. Then we see Shirley, Chris, and Monique. Monique calls Shirley out for her past jabs and how they're not meant to be friendly. But I think it sounds like they're trying to heal. So I really hope that this continues and that they can have a strong family bond. We have Ashley and Michael, who are, again, working on fertility. So they're seeing an acupuncturist. And then Gizelle goes to Chris's restaurant, and she's going to meet Candiace for lunch. Chris is coming out with a cookbook, which sounds like it'll play into the next episode pretty good. Candiace wants to have everyone over to test out the recipes. She brings up Ashley's speech at Monique's party and says she doesn't buy it. Again, she's being awful. I mean, it's like a weird obsession with Ashley. I mean, even if Ashley is full of crap, let's say she doesn't want to. Is that Candiace's business? It's just strange. It's strange how much Candiace is fixated on Ashley. And then Candiace stirs it up even more and brings up her conversation with Monique. She says that she and Monique were talking in New Orleans, and Monique said that Katie used to dress all prim and proper, but now she looks like Amistad. Gizelle asked her, like, what? And asked if Candiace was laughing about it. Candiace says no. And then, of course, the editors have footage of her cracking up and joking about it. Gizelle says it's not cool and it's borderline asshole-ish. Candiace tells Gizelle, you didn't hear it from me. And to camera, she says about herself, I should have just shut the F up. We have Ashley, who's meeting Karen. They're going to go do a healing session with Terry, a spiritual healer. They're in a Himalayan salt room. And she teaches them, to breathe deeper and breathe in when they hug and help release negativity. Ashley discusses the losses that they both experience, and they have nice moments. And Karen says she'll never forget this. And that's how the episode ends. Then we see a flash. It's the mid-season preview of what's to come. It looks like there's going to be blowout fights. It's going to be Karen versus Ashley, Gizelle versus Karen, Candiace versus her mom, who apparently smacked her in the face with a purse. So I cannot wait to get into that. Chris versus Candiace, Monique versus Candiace. There's the Michael stuff coming up. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for that. And Ashley versus everybody. So it sounds like we're in for a heck of a season, and I can't wait to see what happens. So thanks so much for watching this, you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all your wonderful comments lately. I so appreciate that. And I also recap Real Housewives of New York as well as Beverly Hills. I'm doing Below Deck Med, and I cannot wait to do Potomac when the new season comes out. So be sure to follow me on Twitter. I'm at Real Recaps. And again, thank you for everything, and I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.